At JWT, we film our shows for documentation purposes. During this unprecedented time, we are pulling stories from our extensive archives to share with you during these 8 days of Passover. Please enjoy.
My grandfather came to America from Poland. When we grandchildren would ask him what it was like back there in the old country, he had one answer.
It was slavery. That's all you need to know.
He left his religion in Poland, too. When his children were young, he'd cook onions on Yom Kippur.
So the whole neighborhood should know that Abe Rosenbaum isn't in shul. My shul is the Union Hall.
His new Bible was the Freiheit. He'd sit for hours by the window of his Brooklyn apartment, wrapped in the open pages of that leftist Yiddish newspaper, like a prayer shawl. Not surprisingly, we, his grandchildren and children, grew up without any formal Jewish education. But for reasons that were never entirely made clear to me, the habit of celebrating Passover remained with us. Not without the protests from my grandfather. Every year, without fail, he would announce,
I'm not coming to say that.
My grandmother, my parents, my aunt and uncle, driving all the way down from Boston with their kids, would have to plead with him to change his mind. Eventually, he would capitulate.
For the kinder, for the children's sake.
Our singularly unorthodox family seders began with everyone, except my grandfather, singing Go Down Moses. Go down Moses. We thought it was a Jewish song. Then we'd go around reading from a Haggadah that had been purged with pencil marks of any mention of God. Let my people go. When it was his turn, my grandfather would pronounce the Exodus story was
Narishkeit. Nonsense.
and refused to read. That was the signal for us, his grandchildren, to beg him to read in Hebrew. It wouldn't be a Seder without watching him decipher those strange, beautiful letters and speak in a tongue none of us understood. He always resisted. But in the end, he would pick up the Haggadah and chant the prayers he knew by heart. Then he would look around the table at us, and tears would gather in the corners of his eyes. We would stare back, transfixed, as they flowed down his lined cheeks and dropped from his jowls into his lap. For us, my grandfather's tears were as much a part of the Seder as Elijah's eagerly anticipated visit for his cup of wine. Eventually, my grandfather would pull a large white handkerchief from his trouser pocket and wipe his lashless eyes dry. He never could or would tell us why he wept at our Seder every year. Was he remembering the Seders of his Polish childhood? Or was it something more? The loneliness of a man who realizes his children do not know the only language in which he is eloquent, who do not know the prayers he chanted with his father and his grandfather to a God they do not understand at all. Because of him, we had grown like wild seeds in this strange land, but without knowing who we were or where we had come from.